Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Everton 5. Brighton 1, Everton 5. This isn't a blag. This is real. This is real. Joined by Jack in the studio, Ped. And Jack going to discuss that 5-1 victory for Everton, which I won't get tired of saying and might say it a few more times in this programme. But Jack, the hope was that Everton could get something from the game, but surely we didn't think a 5-1 win would be one of those things that we could get from it.
Game that we really could have done with getting something from, but I think we were all resigned to we won't. I'm probably looking at Wolves a little bit more, Wolves and Bournemouth, as if they can get 4 points from Wolves and Bournemouth, maybe we'll be okay. Probably do with 6 points from those two games. I think this wasn't one of the games we were looking at a few weeks ago going, that's one we can win there. You know, Brighton are flying this year, they're in the hunt for Europe, playing really good football.
Yeah.
And not just to win 5-1.
Yeah.
5-1. We were saying for Everton, don't smash teams.
No.
We never smash anyone. Play a League 2 team and not smash them. That's just not who we are. Just A, the quality, and B, the mentality. It's not who we are. It's not what we do. Yeah, amazing.
I mean, Ped, we were saying last week, could we possibly nick something there, even a draw, just to try and keep momentum going? And I think after Leicester, we were a bit deflated because it felt like, even though it was good, we didn't allow Leicester to win and get away from us. We still felt like if Everton maybe would have gone for it, they'd win it. But we didn't. Surely we didn't expect this at Brighton.
No, but I think we said on the preview, didn't we? Could we do what we never do? Could we just have a day where you look at other teams and go, how have they pulled that off? We never seem to do that, or maybe we do at times and we don't recognise those days. I suppose. I think, you know, when going into the game yesterday, after seeing what Fulham did to Leicester, you looked at it again and I was thinking, every time we've played a team and took a point and it looked like it was a decent point, their next fixture or a few fixtures on, you look at it and think, these are, you know, Chelsea with the 2-2, Forest with the 2-2, Spurs at home where you think the stupid sending off, which obviously affected massively the next few games with the Corey being out the side. You look at it thinking, you know, Newcastle went to Newcastle, didn't he, Spurs, and they go 5-0 down after like 25 minutes, and you're thinking, and no, we wouldn't have done that to them, but you're thinking, the way we grabbed the point, it felt deflating. So I suppose coming into this game, you looked at their results and you just think, there was no pressure on it, I suppose, as well. Maybe that took the pressure off. I'm listening to Sean Dyche, and when you're in the moment and things, especially as a fan, I mean, you do this all the time. There's no experience. There's not as much. You know, you can have as much experience as you want. You're never prepared because you're just thinking all the time about with your heart more than anything else. Managers are paid to think, obviously, with their head and keep all the emotions. And Sean Dyche actually does that quite well. Whatever you think of him, he does keep the emotions really in check. And he recognises those moments. And there was saying in the Leicester game, you cut out sort of the stupid 2 mistakes in the first half, which were stupid mistakes. Then Everton played well against Leicester, and it is about cutting out those mistakes. And that's, as a manager, that's your job, isn't it? You have to look at the whole thing. Whereas to us, everything's falling down, everything's burning down. And I suppose if you can cut those mistakes down one by one, or find a mistake, get rid of it, then go on to the next one. That's your job, isn't it? And sometimes you change something, and by changing it, it makes the situation worse or equally as bad, and you'll never get that perfect scenario till you've got it. And maybe in this game we finally got the perfect scenario, the perfect starting 11. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, absolutely peak fitness. Yerry Mina, you know, in some kind of fitness before anything happens, and everything just seemed to click into place.
I mean, Jack Pad's mentioned there about obviously moving things around so you stumble on something. Yeah, it must be pointed out, Yerry Mina's been fit since Sean Dyche come in. He's been fit every week, been sub most weeks. He's been available. It's not like we've waited for him to come back. And there was a little bit of frustration that the manager over the last few weeks had shown a stubborn side to him, and a lot of fans could see the defence is making mistakes and it needed changing. And obviously we had an injury to Seamus Coleman, and then we got him back and he's injured again and out for the rest of the season. But the two big changes, but obviously Patterson was coming in.
It was forced on him.
Was forced. But he has, fair play to him, he has made the change with Yerry Mina and Michael Keane for this game. And I think a lot of fans seen that 11 yesterday before the game were like, the way we saw the team before Fulham and you felt a bit of deflation. I think yesterday when you seen that and you went, you know what, fair play, he's made the changes today. The start obviously will come on to that, makes it great. But how did you feel when you'd seen those two changes coming?
It was quite positive, to be honest. I think it was arguably our best team. On paper, you know, there's the arguments about Onana, but Garner's been good last couple of games. Onana been a bit poor under Dyche, I think it's fair to say. I think on paper it probably was our best team. I was quite happy with it. I think when I heard Mina was in the team, it was good because I know we've all been critical of Dyche for not playing Mina, and you know last night shows rightly so. But if you view it through Dyche's lens a little bit more, you know you've got a player who often injured, unavailable. You don't want to be forced into a change, even if you've got the personnel on the bench. It's unideal. He's got Keane, a player who he trusts. He's managed him before and he's played very well under him before at Burnley. I think to give Dyche a little bit of to understand his mindset. I'm not saying it's okay because I said myself I'd rather Mina be in the team, but that's his mindset, isn't it? And then finally he's made that change. I just wish he'd done it a bit sooner. So I think if Mina's in the team for Leicester, we win there.
Yeah, I think the frustration with me was not that everyone can go with. I've defended Michael Keane loads of times. I think Mina's miles better than all of them, I think. But I think the problem I had with it was he took Connor Cody out for two mistakes. And that's no issue with that. A manager, you've got to search for something like Ped just said that works. But I think you have to use that scale for every player then. So I think Michael Keane's made some errors since he come in. Everton have conceded a hell of a lot of goals. And they won't all be down to him. But I think that's why I was calling for the change early. And I think we're at a situation now where it's got to be game by game. So even if you think, well, there's a fear over Yerry Mina being available for or lasting the 90, you've got 5 subs now. I think you had 2 subs or 3 subs. It's different. You've got to look and go, can we afford to lose a sub early? And with 5, it doesn't really matter now. And I think he got to the stage, and fair play to him, credit to him, he's been big enough to make that change. And hopefully Yerry will remain fit for the next few games. He's going to leave in the summer, let's be honest. But he can still play a pivotal role. He's our player. Let's use him. And he did use him, and it was brilliant. You got the starting 11 spot on as well, by the way.
Well, big decision as well, because actually when you think about it, bringing Nathan Patterson in as well, changing the whole of the right-hand side of your defence, it was a big decision.
But he's going to drag someone through the game more.
No, I know, but he could have said, well, I didn't want to take Keane out because Patterson's coming in and I need that consistency. So it was a big decision from Dyche, and I'm made up he made it because, listen, it's great, again, us sitting here. We've all been calling it for weeks. I've been putting him in my starting 11 team for the last few weeks. It was a decision that had to be made. Yeah. And he did make it, and fair play to him for doing that, because Yerry Mina, you just mentioned it, Yerry Mina's been back on the bench since the Brighton game at home. He was on the bench. He played one game against Chelsea away where we played 3 at the back, West Ham away, where we played 3 at the back. And to bring him in from the cold, because I was thinking, because when you call him for someone every week and then he actually does play, and you're like, we better play well. But he was at it from the beginning. As you mentioned there, we've got Cody, we've got Keane, we've got plenty of options that can come in. And even if it was just for one game, I mean, Brighton love to play those crosses to the back post, coming inside and playing those crosses. So even just him being that, having that player to its aerial presence, and he was fantastic. Now, if it's just for one game, let's say, then for a 5-1 win, that's huge. I mean, Yerry Mina was involved in the last 5-1 win, wasn't he, away at Burnley? But that's huge, huge moments. And if it was just one game, then he's done his job. Hopefully, it's not. Hopefully he's available for next. Hopefully he's available for all 3 remaining games, because he's a massive, massive player. Yeah. Not just size-wise, but he's such a... And you mentioned he's a leader. Yeah. He leads for... Like, he'll have been saying to Patterson, telling him, he'll be talking to him. He's such a big presence that we've missed. And, you go back to, like, the Southampton game, and I'm outside and even speaking to fans and going, I'll do everything I can. You can tell he means it. You can tell he's that kind of fella. You know, again, it's this thing that you get into your head when a player is injury prone that he doesn't want to play football. It's so easy to do that. And yet, I think for the most part, I've never seen Mina bottle a game or have a truly terrible. I've seen him have moments. I remember when we got beat by Arsenal 3-2, there was a couple of times, and away at Newcastle. But you have moments where they get caught. But I've never really seen them have a game where you go, oh my God, he stunk the place out tonight. And yet with Michael Keane, that has happened far too many times. And that's not me making him a scapegoat.
It's just happened, hasn't it?
Michael Keane.
It's what's happened.
It's what's happened, isn't it? Far too many times you go, oh, you're making a scapegoat. It's not. He's just not a good player. He's not good enough. In this moment, he's not a good enough player. You make mistakes, and it's actually nice to have that little bit of the ability. You know, everyone craves this like mythical 11 that plays every week. It's not the case. You've got to keep people on the toes. The manager's left James Garner in, put Onana on the bench again. It could have been dead easy to go, no, that's my starting three. That's the three that got me the win against Arsenal. It's like, no, it's horses for courses. You know, he's played Patterson. That was a big decision. So, fair play.
No, brilliant. And obviously Everton were on it right from the word go. Tremendous, absolutely tremendous start. And Patterson does really well, gets nice and tight, gets a block in, and we go from there. And Iwobi opens it up, and a great bit of skill by Dom. We just got a couple of stills from the first goal, actually. So we just have a little look at these when they come on screen. In a sec, I'll just keep filling until Ned puts them on. Still keep filling. And here we go. Sized it, so. But fair play. Good preparation from Ned. As we can see, Everton have just won the ball back. Alex Iwobi there, and I've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the arrow once to get in behind Lewis Duncan. This set the tempo really for what Everton were doing. High up, robbing the ball, and then because Brighton do commit, it leaves spaces in between. But what you have to do is have people who want to get up there. There's got to be the want and the desire to get up there. We take it on to the next one. If we got, so again, Iwobi has laid that in, and Dom, it's gone into Dom, and the arrow is where he's going to go. And you see Adelaide Corey getting ready to break in as well. Alex Iwobi set off on a run as well. We take it to the next one. Here we go, we're coming in. Now Dom's got the ball, and you see the Corey's got himself almost 1v1 here, and we're away. And that's the pace of Calvert-Lewin as well. He's had the little turn, he's got away. We take it on again. And that would have been a ball that I think most of you are thinking, I'm thinking, is that put that across there, and it's up to the Corey to make that run and get in. What Dominic Calvert-Lewin does really well, and the Corey, and it makes me wonder whether or not this has been something he's done in training, just because of the way the Corey steps in and steps out. If we actually take it on again, what Dom does is cut it back, and the Corey's just going to have an empty net to sweep it in. And because they have made that movement, where Dom's cut it back and the Corey's gone and pulled back out, it gives himself the, opens the whole goal up, and he's knocked it in. And 34 seconds, absolutely, what a start. And you know what my initial thought was? Well, now they've got to get two to beat us, because it was that early, and it was like, great start, celebrating, but, what can we do? The commentator starts talking, well, he scored after 44 seconds against Brentford and won 1-0, and you're thinking, there's a long way to go, but it was a tremendous start, Jack, wasn't it?
Well, I thought after that we were probably going to sit back, and we did to a degree, but it was with the intention of counter-attacking and getting Brighton to open up, and that's obviously something Dyche had looked at pre-game, is how Brighton open up when they lose the ball, because they push so many players into them wide spaces. The midfield has almost become like wide number 10s. And the full-backs push up into the midfield positions. So many times they just had two at the back. And when you're attacking with pace, got to Corey making runs, got Calvert-Lewin, brilliant centre forward play. Because what we didn't mention there with that first goal is that after Patterson won the ball back for us, it was a brilliant opportunity, but it still took a level of skill from Calvert-Lewin to make it into a chance on goal. That's the difference from the off, isn't it? Like a fit Calvert-Lewin, he's fit now. You can tell he looks sharp.
And it was a great, to be fair, it was a great ball by Iwobi because it enabled Calvert-Lewin. The skill was brilliant, don't get me wrong. He's definitely been staying behind at Finch Farm, perfecting that drag back we saw at a Palace, which almost ended in a goal for him. We've seen it a few times. And it was brilliant bit of skill. And like you say, that's something it looked like they've worked on with Iwobi. The Corey's gone in and just pulled back and he's got a tap in. Absolutely brilliant.
The good thing about it was, like, you know, I've seen a few people going, oh, might have scored too earlier. But it actually it enabled the plan to work even more because it said to Brighton, well, you've got to attack us more and be a little bit more open. And we have seen that on the counter attack. We've been really, really good away from home. It's why we've been scoring more goals away from home. We've been opening teams up. Alex Iwobi, for his faults, can carry the ball and open up space. Sometimes and we saw this against Leicester, he can be a bit, you know, he can be a bit loose with it. Yeah, others might call it brain dead, but he can be a bit loose with the ball. Dwight McNeil's always a willing runner, and now what you've got with the centre forward like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, someone who occupies the centre backs, and that creates a space for people like the Corey. And you saw with both of his goals how people are fixated on what Dominic Calvert-Lewin's doing. And if you've got someone who's just going to pull off a little bit like the Corey has, someone running from midfield, you know, they don't necessarily play with. You know, they haven't got that someone maybe in midfield who's going to just sit and that's his only job. So the Corey give him a little bit of freedom to pull into the spaces, and we saw that with the second goal as well. And that what you got to do, you've got to give a lot of credit there to Iwobi and to especially Dwight McNeil, but Iwobi as well, of course, because they played right on the edge. Because early on in the game, Patterson was getting torn a little bit. But it was, if Iwobi had got too involved, then he couldn't have done the other side of the game. So both of them played right on the edge, and that takes a lot of discipline. It also takes, you know, a lot of decent coaching. And there's a desire as well. Because you can have players they've been given a job and they go, I don't mind going that way, but I'm not really going to do it the other way. And that's what I think showed, especially from Dwight McNeil. I mean, if you look at Dwight McNeil's heat map from the game, there's a big red blob in their box, but also in our corner there's a big red blob, which shows how much he was trying to help. Certainly in that second half, where it got a little bit difficult for Mykolenko being one-on-one with Solly March, and he, you know, you've got to give a lot of credit to them and the role the managers assigned both of them.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Iwobi was brilliant. He was, and he does. He frustrated Alex Iwobi because he's got that vision. He plays them passes. He is going to give the ball away because that's them passes.
It's where you give the ball away, though,
and that was what I was going to come on to. He gets stick for he doesn't score enough goals. It's just a fact. Whether some people like it or don't. And other times he is loose with the ball. Sometimes he just gives possession away cheaply in the wrong areas. But I don't mind him giving away in the final third, trying to play through balls.
He can't score from there, can he?
Exactly, and that's where he is at his best. But his work rate, you know, last night, him and McNeil work rate was incredible. But it was breaking, and Everton, you know, Patterson did have a rough 15 minutes with Mitoma, but then got to grips with him, and I think Mitoma was tremendous and has been brilliant all season, and he dealt with him brilliantly. But the second goal, it's a fantastic breakaway. We'll have a look again. We've got the stills for the second goal here, and Everton have made another quick break, and you've got the ball to Dwight McNeil. And this again, like Pet's just been talking about, Abdoulaye Doucouré here. You've got Iwobi, Dom's there, Brighton are wondering what Dom's going to do. Iwobi's there free. And look at the space for Abdoulaye Doucouré to charge into. If you take it on, McNeil's looking up. Again, Doucouré's just got to follow that arrow into that space. Again, because of Calvert-Lewin and because of Iwobi, they're getting dragged across to the ball. We take it on again. Doucouré's there. McNeil looks up. It's a tremendous ball from Dwight McNeil. Just hangs it up. Doucouré in loads of space. We go on one more. Now is he going to pull it down? Where you thinking pull it down, you're on your own with the keeper. But he has the confidence, and we take it on again. He has the confidence to just volley it first time and think the next one is showing a volley. There it is. Tremendous finish past Steele.
And that's not an easy finish.
No,
because there's not a lot of pace on the cross.
No,
the cross was
just
delivered,
to clear what's there.
It was delivered accurately, and it was a great ball. But that's not an easy one. It's a brilliantly controlled finish with just enough pace to beat the goalkeeper and to go 2-0 up after that. You know, that quickly.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
And again, I think I said this to you on another show, Pedro. We now seeing the Abdoulaye Doucouré we thought we were buying. Obviously, when we bought him, he was asked to almost babysit James Rodriguez, wasn't he, to sit in that. And I think other managers they've moved him about a little bit, but he's quite clearly the most comfortable when he can break into a penalty area as well.
The thing about Doucouré is because of his size and how he gets around the pitch, he's been used far too many times in a 2. Because it's like, well, he's got the legs now to cover other players, and that actually takes away from what he's good at. And we saw it. I think we saw it early on. Benitez was using him a little bit higher up. I remember going back to the Arsenal game when we beat them 2-1. We made a sub. I think we brought Gomez on in the second half, and it meant Doucouré could push higher up the pitch, and that's his position. You know, those runs. That's a desire and a commitment where you see people who score goals from midfield. Intelligent forward play takes the centre backs away, and then it's a case of like, have the opposition midfield got the same? Are they switched on? Have they got the discipline? Are they caught up ball watching? And that's what sometimes it's why goal scoring midfielders are just worth the weight in gold, and we haven't seen that from Doucouré enough. And what Sean Dyche is found with him is a player that will who you know, this is a player he was on the way out. You know, Lampard didn't have a clue how to use him. He was, because he'd fallen out with him. He just didn't have a clue how to use him. Didn't know how to get the most of him. You know, playing 5 at the back rather than playing a strong midfield. And what he's shown in under, I mean, it's again, we said before, where Dyche has gone wrong recently, you just didn't have a clue how to replace him. Because maybe there wasn't any way to replace him, but messing about with the team led to just a Frankenstein setup where it should have been like, well, we'll just replace him with another player and just leave the skeleton in place. And he didn't. He started tinkering it. But that goes back to Doucouré being a massive tit against Spurs. I mean, ultimately, you can bemoan Dyche and say, well, he should have done this. That fella is 29 years of age. He shouldn't be putting his hands on anyone's face in the Premier League.
I mean, Jack, obviously the goals are the key, aren't they, from midfield? Everton haven't got anyone who scores goals from midfield. He's on 4 now. He's only basically played since February. He played the first game and a half, got injured a filler in the second game after 20 minutes and went off, and then Lampard left him out, didn't he? Put him on every now and again. Again, since Dyche has come in and threw him in there, and all of a sudden he's got 4 goals, and that's going to be key for us the last couple of games.
Well, in his correct role and position and style of play, he's got 4 goals in less than half of the season worth of games. If he'd been played in that role all season, you know, statistically he's on at least 8 goals, isn't he? Which from a midfielder, from any team really, is amazing. But a team fighting relegation, it's massive, and it's just a shame it's took so long, and it's took only Sean Dyche being able to see that's his role, that's what he did at Watford, that's what got him the move, that's what had him on a lot of teams' radars before they were relegated. And I think because Doucouré, he sort of got the build and like almost the style in a sense of just a runner in midfield, because he can't get about the pitch and because he's clumsy on the ball. You wouldn't expect that of almost your number 10 as your furthest forward midfielder. You think of that type of player, you think of Kevin De Bruyne. He's not that at all, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to look for a player in that style to put them in that position.
And the other side of it is, it does actually release him from being a player who gets caught on the ball in the half of the pitch. You know what I mean? He's someone who goes.
Because he can help out at the back. He does.
Well, he presses really well. Physically, he's a big lad. So offset pieces, defensively and attacking wise, he's going to be good. But it actually frees him up from what he's not good at, which is being on the ball.
Doesn't it massively help though with Dom being there, because obviously
of course,
Calvert-Lewin will take it in, he'll protect it, and now he's got to run it.
Of course, and also it's not even just that. It's the fact that like we've seen for certainly the second goal, Dom will take centre. They were terrified of Dom. Dom was brilliant first half, but it frees up that space. But what it does is, you know, certainly in this game you've got James Garner who is good on the ball. So therefore, you've got someone good on the ball in the right area, and you've got it's so stupid, isn't it? Because it's just like, surely managers should be able to look at players and go, what are their best assets? Where do you want this player on the pitch? You don't want Doucouré on the halfway line, you know, deep, on the ball, trying to set things in motion. You want a good ball player in there, and that's where again, what he's found in this game is Garner's good on the ball, so he keeps the ball. Adjissa Garner Gay wins the ball back and gives it to someone like Garner, and then the Corey benefits from that. And if you're playing on the counter attack, he can help spring that. So, listen, I'm not saying it's going to work all the time. I'm not saying it's going to. I don't know what it, but it's certainly what is going to help. And where we've been some on the last few weeks against about someone grabbing games by the scruff of the neck. I think there was 3 or 4 in this game, and that's what was so important.
We did go and score a third goal, obviously. Again, committing men forward, and that's actually Alex Iwobi played the ball too soon. He made a brilliant run and a brilliant break, and all he has to do is drive into the penalty area, and he's trying to play almost an impossible ball, which is curl it round the back. Classic. I'm having a go with him because he was great. He was great the way he broke, but if he'd have gone on, he'd have made his pass easier. But the Corey keeps it alive, and then obviously Dwight McNeil catches up, skins the lad brilliantly, and then just puts a ball across. And okay, it's unfortunate for Luke Steele. He's gambled one way, hasn't he? He's gone one way, and it's hit his foot and gone in. If he leaves it, Dominic Calvert-Lewin may tap it in at the back post as him and a Brighton defender. It's hit the keeper, it's bounced in the net, and it's 3-0, and obviously you're in dreamland, aren't you? 3-0 up after 35 minutes. The fans who were tremendous all day. You could hear them singing, and obviously brilliant reward for them. They're dancing everywhere. It's hilarious, and you're looking at it going, this is what it must be like to watch your boss team just go away and just wait, pick teams off, bang, bang, bang. Very similar to the way Brighton picked us off at Goodison. They had more of the ball at Goodison, but I just mean we'd lose it and they just go pop up and it'd be a goal, wouldn't it? And it was great for us to do the opposite, and brilliant from McNeil to back up the Corey's run as well.
But you're watching it thinking like, this is why people enjoy footy. This is what they see in it.
Yeah.
But no, it was brilliant, and yeah, obviously in that where we lost to Brighton at Goodison, they had more of the ball, like you said, both the same, just like going through butter like a hot knife. Just cutting through them effortlessly.
Tremendous, that, yeah.
Well, nearly said a hot butter through a knife then, so to say.
Well, it'd probably be the same thing, surely, wouldn't it? Because it just run off the knife, wouldn't it? Rather than the knife going through it. But yeah, but carry on.
Yeah, you'll never
know.
No, but it was
not a test we've done, to be fair.
It was nice that we didn't stop doing it. Yeah. Because it's almost easy to think, like, they'll pick up on this now.
Yeah.
And they didn't, because they sort of have to leave themselves that open to play the way they want to play, especially when they're chasing the game as well, because they have to commit them men forward.
That's what Zach kept saying, don't stop, please carry on what we're doing. And we did, didn't we? We did for the first half. We did. We should have. We had one, I was saying to you before on one of the different shows, we had that break where I think it's McNeil and Dom, and if he just plays it, Dom's one-on-one, and he waits, and then he tries to play it, and it's the last defender's legs. And then, of course, we have it might always be Iwobi, it was McNeil or Iwobi, and then we have the one where McNeil does brilliantly, another brilliant counter-attack, and cuts it back to James Garner, and I'm up. I'm thinking it's 4-0, and the Evertonian in me, as it gets blocked and cleared, and then the ref blows the whistle, I'm thinking, was that the moment to just kill the game? Because at 3-0, it should be over, but you're thinking 4-0. Surely not even Everton can concede.
Do you know what went through my mind? Remember Dembele's miss against Liverpool at Barcelona, 3-0 in the last minute, and they were all like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter."
Oh, it matters.
That's what went through my head right at that moment. No, it was a big chance. Keeper didn't even save it. It was blocked, wasn't it?
By Duncan.
It was blocked.
But we were impressed the way, like Jack just said, even getting 3-0 up, we didn't just go, just sit in and hang on.
Because what it was good was the bit, we had the bit between our teeth, and I suppose what was important about that is, just if you get into half time, manager can start making changes, and obviously they made 4 subs, but it's that thing, isn't it? Of like, so that was what was working for us. That was our best form of defence.
It was
just being on the attack. It was working brilliantly. You almost don't want half time to come. That's why you're thinking we get a 4th now, because you know they're going to come out second half.
They were a bit punch drunk, weren't they, in the first half?
You didn't know what to do. You didn't know where to stick or twist. Teams are giving instructions, and especially the thing about really good teams is they just continue doing what they know. And you watch the likes of City, and how you just keep, and it's repetitive, and they know it'll work. They know it'll get results, and they don't know how to change. And that's what it was a bit like with Brighton. They knew what they were doing, but it was getting no results. And we defended amazingly. I mean, Jordan Pickford didn't really have a save to make in the first half.
He didn't have any on.
But just a lot of those deep crosses that we were just getting ahead to, and Michalenko or Patterson or Dwight McNeil were coming back and just getting that ball at the back post, and it was not continuous, but obviously the release was us breaking, and to score 3 on the break and have maybe two other fantastic opportunities. It was a phenomenal half of football, best half of football I've seen for a very long time.
Absolutely, like you said, to go in 3. And I do have to single Patterson out here a couple of times when they did play that long diagonal. He was the one coming across and sweeping as well, clearing with his left foot. He'd done it a couple of times when they looked like they were in, and that was brilliant. And like you said before, the work rate that McNeil put in and the work rate of Wobie was then James Garner, who got in. And I think a lot of people, I think it was just simply we hadn't seen him. So when he come into the team and he made his full debut against Fulham, didn't he, at home, and we got beaten, people were like, oh, I'm not sure. And it's like, well, he is only 21 and he's just starting. But I think what we've seen in the 2 away games, certainly, I thought he played quite well at Palace for an hour. But Leicester away and these away, I just thought he's looking more confident now. He's looking more like, almost like I belong now, whereas at first it is difficult. He's had an injury and all that. And he seems to complement Idrissa Gana Gueye, because even though I think Onana's got a huge ceiling and I want him to take the game by the scruff of the neck, sometimes he doesn't, but I think it almost works better just right now with Idrissa Gana Gueye winning the ball and just giving it to James Garner, who's always got his head up, always wants to get on the ball, always wants to knit stuff together. And I think that seems to be working, or certainly the last, without going overboard, could all change again. But right now, the last 2 games, it seems to have worked quite well, doesn't it?
I think as well, he's sort of another level of class on the ball that we don't have in midfield at the moment, and that's not because he's Iniesta.
Yeah.
But I think one of the criticisms you could say about Decore,
he's definitely not
Iniesta on the ball.
Yeah.
No, that's I'm not trying to.
No, I know what you mean.
But he's a style of player that we don't have in that midfield.
Yeah.
I think, Onana played a brilliant pass for the last goal.
We'll come back onto that.
In terms of consistency of his passing, it's not always weighted brilliantly.
No.
Gueye probably criticised a little bit too much for it in terms of not passing forwards. I think the criticism for that is sometimes a little bit too harsh, but it's not as much a part of his game as it is with James Garner. So it's nice to have that, and it's nice to have another option who does things slightly differently.
Have a mix, haven't you?
We're not exactly a team, are we, that cut people open. We don't have patterns of play that create the opportunities.
You say that, we did last night.
No, we're
right.
not,
no,
though, are
right.
we?
No,
we're not a team that pulls.
We're not Brighton now.
We're not a team that pull. You watch them play yesterday, right? And for us beating them 5-1, I mean, the second half was ridiculously nervy, because you watched how they play and you understood why they're so good. Because the way they manoeuvred us around, we just stuck to our guns, because we just went, we're 3-0 up, we just put everyone behind the ball. But the way we did it, the way they did it, you can see how they manipulate. You watch City all the time, you watch how it's just relentless, and then it's that one moment and they take the opportunity. So it's not like we've got massive opportunities to create those scenarios. So, excuse me. So players like Onana don't often get an opportunity to play those kind of balls, or Garner might not get, James Garner might not get those opportunities to play those balls, and that's why Onana, when you watch him at times, is maybe his true. This is why he'll be better in a better team, I think, is because you'll see more of his true football intelligence come out when it's almost not. Our midfield always seems to be like back to the wall, doesn't it? It's a dogfight in there in our midfield. It's not exactly like our midfield sets the tempo.
Especially without Dom.
Well, exactly. So it's not like our midfield sets the tempo for playing this glorious football, is it? So it can be a dogfight, and I think that's why Onana struggled this season at times. But James Garner had he's got the other side of the game in him, because he played in the Championship with Forest. He understands you've got to work hard, you've got to be prepared to do the dirty work to get on the ball, and he's a bit more used to that side of things. So and getting behind the ball and having to do the dirty work, and he's done all right the last couple of games. He's done.
They both had 83% pass completion rather. Both won.
Both as in who?
The two Garners. Both had 66% tackle. One. James Garner completed 5.
They only had like
clearances.
30 odd touches of the ball each, though, didn't they?
Yeah,
so
but
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. So it's like
they've had to stick to
they've
the
had
guns,
to stick
haven't
to
they?
their job. That's what I'm saying. It's where
The Corey had 90% pass rate, which is a lot for him. Completed
That's
one
very
of
high
his
for him.
3.
Yeah.
We've got his stats. We look at him. In fact, let's look at the Corey stats right now, because he was talking about the midfield, and obviously had his goals there. 2 shots on target, 2 goals, 2 key passes, completed 50% of his dribbles, 3 tackles out of 5. He won
it's an all-round great performance.
He
midfielder.
done really well. The second half, obviously, they made 4 changes at the break, which was always going to change the direction of the game. It just was. They were never going to come out and be chilled where they were 3-0 down. It could have been 4 or 5. Their manager might have said it should be 4-0, and we got away with that at the end. We get the first goal. These might panic. And Everton had to be really on it for the start of that second half. And it was difficult because Solly March did look like the target of Michalenko immediately, and he skinned them a few times, and we had to be wary of it. Jordan Pickford's turned in an unbelievable second half display there. He made 3 brilliant saves, one from Evan Ferguson, which he pushes onto the bar, which is a tremendous one. He pushed the header onto a post. McAllister's hit the bar as well with a header, and we did have a real uncomfortable opening 20 minutes to that second half, didn't we?
I think they knew they could get back into the game, Brighton, if they scored. And one thing the manager probably has said to them, if you score, these will panic, because they would have.
Yeah.
So it was important that, I think, watching it, I was thinking, if we can get to 70 minutes and we haven't conceded, these can't maintain that level of pressure without scoring. It's just not going to happen. And then eventually they'll take their foot off the gas. That if we can get to 70 minutes, just seeing it out and then get a foothold in the game, we can just see it out at 3-0. And we got that far, and then eventually we managed to actually get a 4th goal as well. And that's when I thought we're safe here. And obviously they came back, and then I thought, oh no, it's time for Everton.
I'll be honest, I was playing like 10-minute blocks in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm like that. Can we just get to 55 minutes without conceding? And they had the first 3 or 4 minutes of the second half felt like 20 minutes, because it was just like that. And Everton, that was the worst spell we had. Actually, we were clearing it, but we couldn't get it to Dom, and we were losing it, and it was just like wave.
They changed the point of attack, didn't they? It was in the first half. It was all down Matoma, and it was weird that they didn't actually vary it. They just stayed primarily on their right-hand side, and I don't know whether that was to attack Michalenko or it was actually trying to catch Patterson out on the other side, and because you know, fullback, we've said this quite a lot. Fullback only seems to have one eye. They seem to they're always looking that way, and they can't see the person coming from behind them. And Michalenko was exposed again, and that's where Dwight McNeil comes in for so much credit in the second half, is because of how much he helped defend. Again, it was that thing. Solly March had Michalenko, you know, inside and out, didn't he? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at Michalenko, just pure pace. He was having him every time, and then he was
he's very direct as well.
Every time it looked like it was opening up, whether he was going to get the ball on his left foot or it was horrifying. Quite frankly, for about 10 minutes, wasn't it? But you're right, you have to just go. To me, the mentality was like, we're only 1-0 up here. We defend like we're 1-0 up. Don't concede one, because that's where everyone gets a little bit. Because it's about desperation, isn't it? When you play any team, the longer it goes on, the more they get desperate, the more they do what's going to suit you. We'll just put long balls in, we'll take shots from outside the box, and the longer and longer and longer it goes. And luckily we did that. Some of the defending was brilliant. The goalkeeping was brilliant. There was a team thing of like, do not concede. You know, and luckily then we get a break, and it's a fantastic break, and it's the way it finished was just extraordinary.
But we'd had up until then, Mina's headed that one that looked like it was in, because it was 3-0 at that stage, and that's curling beyond Pickford, one of the ones that beat him, and Mina just throws his head in the way, and it's like we had Patterson clearing things off the far post, just heading things away, and it was that moment of like, let it go out, slow the game down, you know, try and get it to Dom, and we just couldn't get, you got to give them credit, they mixed it up and they brought fresh legs on, and we very much had sat, and you're just thinking, is it us just sitting, or are they playing really well? It's probably a little bit of both, because it's like you don't want to leave too many gaps, because it is that thing, if they get one, you start flapping, don't you? But we had that presence of mind, and we're getting into 75 minutes, and I'm thinking, I still can't feel like we've won this game, because Newcastle at home a few years ago will not leave my brain. 2-0 up in injury time, we didn't win. It's there, but we did have the breakaway, and the breakaway for the fourth goal was born out of sheer determination again, and brilliant from Iwobi. We win the ball back on the edge of our box. Yeah. Off, I think it might have even been a Brighton corner. Comes into the box, and we break with it, and Iwobi sets off and ends up, Solly March pulls his hamstring, chasing him, and it's great strength by Iwobi and brilliant by McNeil. The desire, because both of those plays were in our box, and we break. And if we just play it on here, we've got the stills for the fourth, just to say what I'm talking about here. We've got up to the edge of our box here, and Alex Iwobi, that's the pass, but without McNeil's desire to get there, that's straight back to the goalkeeper. And Iwobi is probably the only Everton player in the team that could pick that pass.
Make that pass.
Really, to be fair.
I mean, I don't think it's a difficult pass.
No, but he's the one that plays it, and that's what I'm saying. It's why he gets criticised.
So, but what I'm actually happy with Iwobi there is he does play it.
No, we're not.
That's what I'm saying. It's so easy there to just go, I'll go to the corner.
It reminds me of the ball he put through to Anthony Gordon at Leeds early on the season, but he plays it through. McNeil, great desire to get there. We take it on, Dwight McNeil, brilliant run. As it gets to this one now, that could be the finish first. You know, can I stop it? Can I just guide it past the goalie? But he does brilliantly. Obviously, Lewis Dunk's about to fly in, and we take it on. He sends them both to Chippy, goes round him, carry it on. And at this stage, I'm thinking, is that a Stupian? I'm thinking, is he gonna leg it and just put some tackle in? Because Dwight McNeil's doing that thing, and I think we said that is that the last slide? I think that might be the last one. At this stage, we said it on the podcast. We wondered if he's going to take it to the line, put his foot on it. You know.
No, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking you are taking so much care.
Yeah,
like
just
he didn't
make
even.
sure.
You know, when you see players on the line and they just smash it. Yeah. He wasn't even doing that. It was like walking football, wasn't
brilliant.
it? Like blind football from Father Ted. Just making sure that they always had a foot on the ball, no matter what happened.
And at that stage, with 80 minutes, I let out a scream of like, thank God.
Yeah.
And then Brighton scored.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, when it went 4-1, my bottle went. And I don't know, it shouldn't have done, but it did. It did. And I mean, that was a brilliant goal, wasn't it, Jack? The fourth goal.
Oh, it was great. And to be honest, on that second frame that we had there, where he could have took the shot, when he didn't take that, I thought he messed it up. I thought it was gone then. Yeah. I thought he'd ruined it. I thought he was going to overcomplicate it.
Aesthetically, it was nice though seeing him celebrate before he scored.
I know, but he does brilliantly to do the keeper and the centre-back as
well. Well, to be honest, and I'm not taking anything away from Dwight McNeil, I think the centre-back does the goalie. Genuinely. I'm not taking anything away from it. It's brilliant. But I think the centre-back does the goalie. I think the centre-back makes up Dwight McNeil's mind because he comes flying in.
Well, maybe.
But he's done the money. He's done him there because he's gone. Thank you very much. I'll go the other way.
But wasn't it lovely to be 3-0 up and see him dummy it and walk that ball into the net for 4-0? You're just thinking, oh my God, I'm looking at that. Keep looking at the score, and it's like, for about 30 seconds for a change. But I'm seeing 4-0, and I'm like, 4-0 up away at Brighton. It was just like, it was a moment. So it's stupid because it's one game, but just we never go away and we're ruthless.
We've sort of been surviving on this idea of this squads are a little bit better than where they are in the table, and like that's the belief. Anyone who thinks we're staying up is living on that belief, and despite that, we've not had many real strong performances this season. You know, there's been good flashes here and there, but it's the first time, not just this season, but in a while, where
you haven't had that proper striker available. Honest to God, right, you can't ever overestimate how important it is to have a good front man. It's just, if you've got like wingers that like Liverpool or whatever, you've got wide players that get a lot of goals, fair enough, but this is not a team that historically has got goals in it. McNeil's having the season, it's the most he's ever scored in a season, which shows you he's having, and hopefully this will be a trend for him now. He'll trend upwards and continue.
I think we spared them on.
But I think we've definitely
spared
them
on.
But what I'm saying is, you can't underestimate the importance of having a good centre forward who occupy, like you just said, occupy. He didn't even score a goal, Dom, and yet I thought he was superb. And we've played, I keep saying it, it's almost a miracle that we're still able to. we could still stay up. We've had no striker all season. Maupay, it isn't right for what we needed. We haven't had that striker to occupy it all. It's why I kept banging the drum for it's important we get him back, and people are, he's this, he's that, he's never coming back. Why'd you keep going on about him? This is the reason why I kept going on about him, because he makes a huge difference. You can't, people forget because he hasn't been fit just how good Dominic Calvert-Lewin is. Is he Harry Kane? No, he's not. He's not Mo Salah. He's not the top level, but he is a tremendous centre forward when he's fit. He's brilliant for us, and if we could put other players around him, he'd be even better. But having that makes Everton so much better, but it's freed up Dwight McNeil, it's freed up Iwobi, it's freed up the core, and that's why you've got a situation there where Everton have gone forward from their own box, and you've got two wide players linking. One's Iwobi, McNeil's gone right through the middle, and to pull that goal off.
Not only that though, that second goal doesn't get scored if he doesn't make that run.
No,
exactly.
And that's
the importance of good centre forward play, and to be honest, the off the ball running was something that Calvert-Lewin did very well in his early Everton years, almost sometimes a bit too much, because he'd be out the box a bit too often, and that sort of got took away from his game when he learned how to score, because then he became a little bit too immobile, like a bit stationary, just a fox in the box type, and obviously he was good.
You've got to give him something to do as well.
But now we're seeing him do more off the ball.
That's what I'm saying. You've got to give him something to do. Go back to the West Ham game. Go back to Frank Lampard's last game. All he does is watch the ball go over his head for the entire game, or crosses going over his head. Like, you've got to give. He's a clever. You heard it. I've seen it in the comments for videos for the last 5 years with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's rubbish. I told you he was rubbish. He's a championship player and all this. It's like, his intelligence off the ball, but you've got to give him something to do. He's not just a battering ram. No, he's an intelligent footballer, and you're absolutely right, Jack. What you're saying there, it's not necessarily about scoring goals. He's learned the intelligence that we've seen the last couple of games. He's learned the intelligence of the awareness of what's around him. He doesn't even have to touch the ball, and he can create a little bit of drama. People are worried about him, and it's that little bit of mystique of what good centre forwards have. And anyone who's watched Maupay all season will tell you that he's not a terrible footballer. No. Of course, he's not. He scored goals in the Premier League, but he doesn't have the elements of a modern day footballer. And there was one yesterday. It was like, the ball was played down the left-hand side, and it looked like he had no chance, and he just put the afterburners on, and he never got the ball. But it forced them to have to deal with it, and then the ball might be kicked up, and it might be, and then you can start again, and that's what he gives you, and again though, but this goes back to again not buying a proper centre forward in the summer, not buying a proper centre forward in January to take the weight off. You shouldn't be relying on one lad. If someone's got an injury problem, you should have another centre forward to bring in and take the pressure up. So you're not asking the question every week, when's Don back? But
he's absolutely key to us.
If only we got the stats.
Let's see how he did, because he was brilliant. Let's have a look at his stats from this one. There we go.
I mean, they're not the stats.
The right ones.
They are stats.
If only Ned was there. If only Ned was directing. There we go. He won 9 of his 13 aerial duels. He got 1 assist, completed 50% of his dribble, created 1 big chance, and 2 key passes. And he was brilliant. And he was brilliant at Leicester, and he was brilliant last night. And he played, and obviously it was that turn. He got the ball rolling, and like you say, Jack, he made the run for the second goal, drag people away from, which freed the core up, and he was just, he was fantastic, and it's great to have him back. They scored a goal
again,
and it was the in-swinging cross, and it was a bit mad because it ends up being, we got a spawny goal, but it ends up them getting a spawny goal because it hits the post, comes back, it's thingy on the shoulder and loops into the net. And for them, they had a lot of the ball and a lot of crosses. It was probably the only way they were going to see. It was that night for them where they did the bar a couple of times. That was probably the way they were going to get one. And again, for a few minutes after it, they had a little rally, didn't they? And you're thinking, just don't concede another right now and make it uncomfortable. But we got to the 93rd, 94th minute, and I thought, we've won. Because I was thinking, there's only a couple of minutes left. We cannot concede 3 goals in 2 minutes. And then we break. Obviously, Amadou Onana managed to get himself booked before he come on the pitch, celebrating Everton's 4th goal. He got a booking for it. He came on the pitch, and he was instrumental in Everton's 5th goal. And again, we've got the stills from that. We just have a quick look at these before we wrap up. We're going to have a look now at here we go. So this is Onana's on the ball. I've got the arrow as to where he's looking to play, and it's because Dwight McNeil is making the run again. It's another deep run. If we take it on, that's the run McNeil's going to make. Here he goes. The ball's come through, and McNeil's got a foot race there. And you know what? He moves. He seems to be getting quicker as the weeks go on, which is excellent. If we take it on again, he gets to this stage, and I've seen a Wobie bursting in again. It's the two midfield players, and you're thinking, just hit it, because if you smash it in the back row of the stand, it doesn't matter. It's waste of time.
Hold Jeff first.
But he did go, they think it's all over, and then we take it on, and it is now. And what an absolutely brilliant finish. And that, you know what? I'd literally said 30 seconds before, it's mad how they beat us 4-1 at Goodison, and we beat them 4-1 here, and again, we break, and it's in the roof. And what a lovely way, and the yard, big Cherry plonked right on the top with that goal, wasn't it?
And he absolutely deserved it. He'd worked so hard all game.
Yeah.
You think he was already probably our man of the match for the game, or absolutely up there, and then to top it off with a finish like that, he deserved it.
2 goals and 2 assists. I mean, you could say 2.5 goals.
Well, yeah, because he forced the own goal.
You'd be lying if you said that. You'd be lying if you said that.
But 2 goals, 2 assists.
No,
he never
he was
stopped.
Brilliant. He was brilliant. And listen, I've been really critical of him, and that's fine. I think you can be critical of people. But since, I mean, it's Anthony Gordon leaves the club, he suddenly becomes a regular. I know Sean Dyche comes in, but he was going to be a regular anyway, because you've only got 2 wide players essentially, or well, 3. But what he's done, certainly with Dyche, is he's Dyche obviously given him a lot of confidence. And last couple of weeks ago, we sat here and we were talking about someone taking responsibility, someone grabbing hold of the situation by the scruff of the neck, and he seems like he wants that pressure, and that from the player that we bought to what he is now, I think that shows a hell of a lot of growth from the player himself.
But didn't he get booed off last time he played Brighton? Or am I thinking of a different game?
Yeah, that Christmas,
Yeah.
But listen,
but that's everyone was getting booed off.
Dwight McNeil, right, has been absolutely dreadful in some games this season, right?
Oh yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, is that the characteristics of him is like, do you know what? He's got that thing of that sometimes happens with Everton players where they respond to the need of what is out there. There's an absolute need for someone to score goals in this team. There's an absolute need for someone to be a hero. It's all right. It's not quite like Richarlison.
Full Bonnie Tyler here.
Full Bonnie Tyler.
Fair
I'm
play.
telling you now. If there's a tractor fight, you want this fella.
Yeah.
You know, or a dance off. This fella's there for you. No, but sometimes players respond. There's a need. It's like there's a warmth, isn't it? It's like we're great at saying when people are not good enough, but we're also great as a fan base and grabbing hold of someone and going, we can see the potential of you. And I think he has rose to that. And fair play to him. Listen, when we bought him, in my idea, it was like we'd sold with Richarlison and we were buying this fella to replace him. And I didn't get it, and I still look at it and think, you've got to buy a player who's better than the player. I know that doesn't always work, but since Dyche has come in, Dyche has clearly given him a lot of confidence. He's played a lot of games. He looks really fit as well, which is really important. And for him to be making runs like that at the end of the game is huge. Yeah. But as I said yesterday, I said man of the match, and I actually give him a 10 on mine. But I said the reason he's getting a 10 is not because of the 2 goals. It's not because of the 2 assists. It's because the amount of defensive work he did as well to help Mykolenko out in that second half. That was just as important as the goals he scored, to dig in and go, I'm going to do what needs to be done. And I thought that was huge yesterday. And that's why, for me, he was man of the match by a mile, and then pops up in the last minute and does that. We've always said he's got a rocket of a left foot. Yeah. But he is growing as a player, and fair play to him.
Listen, my thing was, he had no history of goals, and we were losing a lad that guaranteed us double figures every year. So if that is the replacement, coming, he wasn't good at the start. It's just a fact. People can say they like him, they don't like him. He was poor. But he's got better and better and better and better. And yesterday, he was my man of the match by a mile as well. He was fantastic to weigh in with the goals, the assists, but it was the work rate. And it's because of that work rate, the desire for the 4th and the 5th goal to make them runs. And you know what? Couldn't have happened to a nicer kid to smash that 5th thing, because he hasn't stopped running for weeks, and that was absolutely brilliant. I've got no issue with that. I hope, like I said before, I'd love him to get 3. and finish on double figures. It'd be incredible.
Yeah.
But he's come big. You said it the other week. We need someone to be full Bonnie Tyler, to be a hero, and maybe he is becoming it because we need them goals, and I hope it gets better. Let's just, before I go to you, Jack, I just want to look at his numbers from the game. Here we go. 2 shots on target, 2 goals, 1 assist, completed 100% of his dribbles, created 2 big chances. I've got some more on that. 45 touches of the ball, 13 touches in the opposition box, 9 duels, 1 possession back 8 times, 3 fouls, 1 ended up with 4 shots, created 3 chances, and 2 shots on
He's
target.
overperforming his XG, but he's underperforming his XA. And he's the 13th top goal scorer in the Premier League since Dyche took over.
So, when you've got that kind of form, you have to take your hat off and go, fair play, mate. I hope you become absolutely key for us, because that's what we want.
Yeah.
Don't we? We need that. I still think we need another goal-scoring winger in the club and on the right with a bit more pace. But I'll never, ever, ever criticise. I've said for weeks, and we've had little disagreements over him, and I said, he's a good squad player. He's got a lovely left foot. Now he's turning that though, and I love that. I've got no issues sitting here.
I've got no issue.
People say to me, "Oh, admit you're wrong." Well, if you actually listen to what I've said, he wouldn't have been the person I'd have gone for. We need the pace and goals. I've always said he's got a lovely left foot and he works hard. Now he's becoming a player. You go, he's got to play. He's absolutely got to be in Everton's team. So therefore, that's up to him. And if he goes at this level and continues, I will be absolutely thrilled. Absolutely thrilled, because he's been fantastic of late. Jack?
Well, in the absence of goals, he's became a goal scorer. He's our top scorer now, isn't he?
7 goals,
And that chance that he scored for the 5th goal, seeing Everton players miss much easier chances. We missed easier chances than that in the same game. Take it back to Leicester, we missed easier chances. It's a great finish. And that's not
just
only...
needs to do that more, doesn't he? Just shoot.
But that's brought on by confidence.
Yeah, it is.
You know, the self-belief to be able to do that. And that's because he's now getting rewards for his efforts. Even when he's been poor this year, and he has been poor this year, he's never not worked hard.
He's always worked. I remember him at Leeds early on. He was fantastic at Leeds on the... I think he was on the right-hand side in front of Patterson. He was brilliant.
At Premier League level, just working hard isn't enough for a winger, because you need numbers behind that as well. You need goals and you need assists.
Especially for our team that doesn't have a load of
And then, in the team that has an absence of that, someone needs to do it. But he's standing up and he's being counted. And last night, you couldn't have asked for anything more from Dwight McNeil. He was so useful at both ends of the pitch. And, you know, if he can carry that on, then he's the first name in the team sheet.
That's the goalie.
That was a brilliant performance.
No, but Jack's absolutely right. It's the both ends. And if he does that, you'll never hear us saying anything. Because we want players like him. We want players who are no nonsense, pull the shirt on and want to work hard for you. I want him. I've said this before. I'm saying this when he was struggling. If you're playing, just simplify your game. Get half a yard, put the cross in. Get half a yard, have a shot. We saw Brentford at home. Another game we scored in the first minute. We're all screaming, shoot. It's it, first time, bang, 1-0. We win the game. Southampton away, come up big with a left foot, bing, just hit it. Just say to him all the time, Dwight, get it out. He scored one against, was it Newcastle? He scored against Newcastle. Therefore, get it out your feet, hit it all day. Oh, not the corner, the one against Fulham. Fulham from the edge of the box, and he gets it out of his feet and it's in the bottom corner. Do it. If you have 5-6 shots a game, mate, I have no issue. They fizz wide, no problem. Carries on doing that, he will get them goals, and that's exactly what Everton need.
But now he's done that, and that's worked. He's clearly playing with more confidence, and now we can pull off the tricky things like he did for his first goal. I think Dwight McNeil 3 months ago probably doesn't score there, because he's playing with a lot less confidence, because he's not having the numbers to back up how hard he's working. Now he's got that. You can do a little bit more. I'd still like him to keep it relatively simple, but in situations where he can, he's shown that he can pull that off.
Do you know if we had, and this isn't a criticism of Michalenko, by the way, but you know if we had like a Luca Dean behind him, do you think he'd be even better with? Because he'd have that left back that goes beyond him, which means free him up to come inside a little bit and put his foot on it.
Yeah, but then I think sort of you traditionally see those type of fullbacks play with wingers who are more comfortable cutting inside. I think McNeil still is quite one-footed, isn't he?
Like to go on the
Our
outside.
manager wouldn't let the fullback go forward. What are you talking about?
I don't know, Patty lets Coleman and Patterson, but again,
Does he though?
well,
Patterson didn't get forward yesterday.
I put about 3 crosses in the first half.
His heat map suggests he
still put about 3,
he defended.
But listen, you don't have to cross the halfway line to score 5 goals.
No, there's just a lot of pressure.
Let's have a look at the overall stats from the game. 23 shots for Brighton, 10 for Everton, but both have 5 on target. 5 big chances to Brighton, 4 for Everton, 78%. A bit below.
Is that the new sweet spot then?
20, it's almost Leicester, and it's circa 2015, but 16. But listen, I'll take that every single day.
Absolutely.
It was a brilliant result. We could have had more. And that's what's lovely about it, isn't it? But
if you look at them stats there, more than a double our amount of shots, more than triple our possession. Yeah, big chances created, practically the same.
We've gone there and we've won a huge game. That's the biggest thing we can say. All the stats can be great. We've had games where we've won the stats and lost the game, and we've had many of them. So I'll take 3 more of them where the opposition can have all the ball and all the chances as long as we win the game.
Take it home with them if they want.
They can have it. Hey, listen, we won the possession for nearly 4 years, 3 years under Martin. So there you go. Yeah, what a result for Everton. Tremendous display. Not much more to say, really. We'll be carrying on for a few minutes on Toffee TV Premier, doing your comments. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. It really helps the channel. Let us know what you think in the comment section below about the game. Are you a bit more confident now? Does it give you, is that it? Does it give you confidence? Does it give you loads of confidence? Or are you still a little bit wary? For me, Jack, I mean, what do you think? How many more points do you think keeps us up?
4 points would guarantee it.
I think so.
3 points would probably keep us up.
Okay. Ped, what are you thinking? 4?
4, I think probably would, although, yeah.
You never know though, do you? Like you said, everyone would have had that down as a home win.
Don't.
So
you don't.
At least it feels like we are fully in the fight and it's almost in our control again. That's almost, I say. Almost.
Gives us a week, doesn't it?
The other teams have got bad games.
No, I'm saying it gives us a week of joy. You don't get that many of them, do you? So
finally, sorry, just before we go, was this perfect preparation for City because of the way City play as well? Very similar.
It was actually. It was perfect prep for it. Not having much of the ball.
Yeah. And having to concentrate.
And having to play on the counter attack, which will suit us. We're at our best playing the counter attack.
And we know Goodison's going to be electric, don't we? And they're in between 2 huge games, aren't they, with Real Madrid? So you just never ever know. Right, we're going, like I said, we're carrying on Toffee TV Premier. Thanks for watching. See you later.